Hey, welcome to Leadshipisation, all things leadership. My name is Beth Berghan. I'm an international leadership, communication, and mental fitness coach, and I work with individuals, with small teams, or teams that are cohesive or work collaboratively in a workplace. And I also work with small groups in my leadership intelligence program. And I'm here each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Boundaries. Boundaries. What a big topic it is. And what I've noticed is that it comes up quite a lot in my coaching, whether it's related to personal issues, personal matters, or whether it's related to professional matters. And it gets a bit difficult for some of us at that point. And the reason it gets difficult is because while we all agree that we need them, and we don't want to be too flexible or too rigid with them, the really big question is, well, how do we set them? What do I want my boundaries to be? And how do I do this without being confrontational? Now, boundaries are really essential for healthy relationships. They're vital for healthy relationships. And in my personal experience is that often you don't know that a boundary is even there until someone comes crashing into it. And then you can tell by your own reaction, the way that you react. And notice I said react, not respond. You can tell by your own reaction exactly where the boundary is because someone will have stepped over it. Someone will have stepped over it. It's kind of like a boundary is the same as a line in the sand, and we want people to be on one side of it. Some people, the line is here. Some people, it's further away. Some people, it's the line is closer to us. It depends on our relationship with that person. And probably what that boils down to is the way we trust them. So it's how. How do we do this? How do we set them for a co-worker? How do we set boundaries for someone who is in our team, where we're their boss? How do we set boundaries for friends? And how do we set boundaries for our family? Well, like many things we talk about in leadershipization, it's all about our choice of words. So what I want to cover today is 6 phrases which serve as a starting point for you. Now, recognize, and I've said this before to you, these are a beginning point for you. Play with the language, work with it so that it sounds much more like you would say, but don't discount them because these have been tried out, they've been proven to actually work. Okay, let's get into them with the reminder that you should personalize it so it sounds like you. Right, first one. You might want to write this down. Love your perspective. However, I'm going to prioritize my own needs. Love your perspective. However, I'm going to prioritize my own needs. Look, what this does is it acknowledges that their needs are important, just as it does acknowledge that yours are important. So sometimes what we do when people promote an idea to us is that instead of putting our hand up and saying, no, thank you, we just go, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'll do it just to keep the peace. That's you letting your boundary get really wobbly. And that's not what this conversation is about. So what I love about this statement is that you're acknowledging their viewpoint. You're saying, yeah, hey, I love that perspective. You're also acknowledging and respecting your own needs by saying that you're going to prioritize them. The other thing I really like about this is that as well as setting the boundary, it teaches other people to respect it. Here's my boundary. I'm going to respect it, and I'd like you to respect it too. Yeah? Okay. Number 2. Let's find a time that works for both of us. Let's find a time that works for both of us. This is a really awesome alternative to no. It's a fabulous alternative to no. And it's solutions focused in terms of, well, let's find something that suits us both. And it means that what you're doing is you're respecting their request, and you're also respecting your own schedule, your own time. It also demonstrates that you're happy to help. You'll help as you're able to. And I think that's important. It's not a rejection. It's an alternative. And that's that whole solutions focus. Let's find a time that works for both of us. Think how much better that's going to be in terms of maintaining quality conversation, because you haven't just said, no way, I'm not doing that. No way, I haven't got time right now. It actually makes it clear to people that you will find a time that works for both of you. The third one, number 3. I'm going to take some time to get my thoughts together. I'm going to take some time to process this. I'm going to take some time to clear my head, or some version of that is what the third one's about. Now, what's important here is that this gives you time to respond rather than reacting. It gives you that time to clear your head, to manage your emotions, to kind of, de-escalate yourself a little bit so that there is some emotional regulation going on. You're going to have much better communication because there's a lower level of emotion there. And finally, that communication is going to lead to better decision making. So it's perfectly okay to say, I'm going to take some time to process this. I'm going to take some time to clear my head. I'm going to take some time to think about this, to think this through. Setting a boundary. We're stopping here. I need to take some time out. I will be back. Yeah. Number 4. This conversation is really important. So let's schedule it for later. This conversation's really important. Let's make time later. Book it in now. Or words to that effect. Now, what you're doing here is you're not dismissing the individual or the topic. You're not saying, oh, go away, we're not going to talk about that. You're clearly identifying that what you will do is give them and the topic the attention it deserves at another time. And that allows you to make sure that the two of you or if it's more, that whoever is involved in the conversation has the time and the mental space available to give the attention that the issue deserves. I really love that one, because quite often you'll know as a leader, particularly if you're having a day that's back to back to back with meetings, someone wants to talk to you and you're trying to deal with them on the fly and it doesn't work very well. So now what I'd really like to encourage you to do is to make sure that you use this statement and that you then follow up and you do schedule it for later. That's the really important thing. Okay, number 5. Please don't speak to me in that way. I'm not going to stand for any disrespectful behaviour. So there's 2 statements there that kind of fit into number 5, and you wouldn't use them together necessarily. You would probably use them separately. One refers to don't speak to me that way. The other one says clearly, I'm not going to tolerate any disrespectful behaviour. Yeah? That's important. Now, this is a very clear boundary. And it's also a very firm boundary. It's not negotiable. So make sure that you're clearly saying there will be no disrespect here. Make sure that what you're doing is helping the listener to understand that when they speak to you that way, when they behave that way, you're not going to tolerate it. And then if you need to, remove yourself from the situation. So just kind of make that statement and get a really clear indication of where they are at. Excuse me. What you're doing is you're demanding basic respect. And you're going to give it to them by making that clear, firm statement. For many of us, the hardest thing is clear and firm. So please don't speak to me that way. Pause. Wait to see what they respond with. I'm not going to tolerate any disrespectful behaviour. Pause. Power of the pause. That's a conversation that I think we've had in an earlier leadershipization, but I'm really happy to have it again. Anytime you like, it's a great conversation to have. So that's the fifth one. The sixth and the final one is this one. I love and appreciate your enthusiasm. However, I'm not available for that. I love and appreciate your enthusiasm. However, I'm not available for that. This is all about self-care. So you're acknowledging I'm going to look after myself because I'm not available for this. I'm not overcommitting. You appreciate their initiative. Now, this can be one where, a team member, a co-worker, a family member or a friend wants you to get involved in organising some big event or something that's larger and potentially outside the area that you would normally sit in. Yeah? And so what happens is that they want you to get involved and you can just feel yourself being almost sucked into the vortex. And what you know is that potentially they'll disappear and leave it up to you because maybe they've done that in the past. Yeah? So this is about that self-care. You're appreciating their initiative. You're saying, I'm not going to overcommit. And if you are concerned about it, you can always add to the end, hey, come back to me sometime in the future, though, because I might have more time available. Or check in with me and I'll see if I can give you some time in the future. A boundary. Now, I know some of you, as you've listened to these, you'll have gone, that doesn't sound like me at all. And that's okay. Use your version. Use your version. Change the wording so that it sounds like you. But stick as close as you can to this kind of wording, or to the wording I've given you, because that's a template for you. We know that it works. It's a really delicate balance. Kind of, there's a difference with different people. Some will handle it differently. Some will be the same. Personal versus professional can always be a little bit difficult as well. The key thing is your intention is to be respectful and non-confrontational, all while managing your own boundaries. Okay? Hopefully you'll take something out of that so that you can start setting some. I look forward to hearing about how that went for you. So thank you for watching. If you've got questions or comments, please put them in the chat or reach out to me. If you've watched the replay, please put #replay. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Reach out and let's talk about a topic that perhaps you want. Or shortly I'll be taking applications for my 10-week Leadership Intelligence program, small group program, 8 people maximum. Shortly I'll be taking applications for that, so reach out if you'd like to hear more information about that. Thank you. See you next week.